Hello, gamers! It is I, Gamer McGamerson, or Aiden. Just call me Aiden. What the fuck is this intro? We always have the most scuffed intros on the internet, but that's what makes this series great, isn't it? I'm definitely not on copium.
People just stick around for the intro. That's why they click, just for the intro, nothing else. They click off afterwards.
For real. So, yeah, the winter 2025 season just came, and then I just came thinking about it.
Okay. yeah. Classic.
I'm so funny, guys. I'm so funny.
Okay.
So like one thing that's unfortunate, I am a little sick, still, so, I don't know, I probably won't be able to yell as much as normal, right? And that's the reason why it took us so long to release this, because sickness sucks. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we're on a roll. I watched a decent amount of shows this season. Actually, I watched a lot this season, what the fuck?
Yeah, you did.
Plasma only watched 3 shows.
Yeah, I was busy reading Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. I was busy reading Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, so I didn't really watch any anime, even though I said I would. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good season, I'd say. Because we've been doing this for at least 2 years now, I believe. Just about seasons.
I think
we started in spring 2023. So it's been almost 3 years. What the fuck? No, it hasn't been almost 3 years.
That's two.
That's two. It's two.
Mathematics,
okay. Okay. You see, this is why I can't be Asian.
Okay. Like 2 minutes in, we're already getting racist. Wait until we get 3 minutes in.
Oh man.
You get homophobic.
The jokes of these videos are so fucking bad.
That's the point.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, my opinion on the winter season has been pretty much the same throughout the last like 2 years. Which is, it's a pretty good season. Typically a lot of like A and B tiers in the season, but almost never are there S tiers in the winter season.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I kind of feel that way with this season as well.
We'll see.
So is there any that you're super enthusiastic to get to, or do you want me to start yapping?
I think you should start because you've watched a lot more than me, and like the stuff that I've watched, pretty much you've watched as well. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that'd be a good thing to start with. I think the best sort of like ground setter is probably gonna be Hanako-kun season 2. So yeah, so I was in the car driving my youngest brother to school, and just randomly he was talking about how he watched Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. So I figured, you know what, I'll give it a. Well, actually, so it stayed in the back of my mind, right? So then I saw the poster for season 2 and went, wow, I really like this art style. It's a very unique art style. Like it's a very good looking show, right? So because of that, I ended up finding out, oh, okay, so this is what Toilet Bound Hanako-kun is. Just gonna call it Jibaku Shonen Jibaku Shonen Hanako-kun, right? Fuck it,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say Hanako-kun.
Yeah, to do that is easier.
My Japanese is so scuffed, man. Despite the fact that I've been studying for like over 6 months. But yeah, so the first season was pretty good. Like I didn't think it was like particularly amazing. I feel like it kind of felt a little slow to start. It's definitely a unique premise, but it wasn't until like near the end of season 1 that I started really getting invested in it. Because they introduced this new character named Mitsuba that they do a lot of really cool stuff with. And then season 2 starts off with a really big bombshell that I'm not going to spoil. And then like the middle half of season 2, not really that much interesting happens. Nothing that I can really remember super well anyway. Like it's still good, right? It's not anything crazy, but then the end of the season goes fucking crazy. Like the last arc of the season's really good, and apparently we're getting season 2 of season 2 in summer. As if summer couldn't be any more stacked.
Yeah, summer's gonna be a crazy season.
Yeah, I mean, the summer season, I won't be able to watch everything I want to watch in summer. There's just too much stuff airing.
After summer.
Nah, go on.
I mean, I could watch stuff in summer, but I don't know.
Yeah, like summer's fucking stacked. This is the best. Summer's gonna be the best anime season that we've had ever. At least in the timeline that we've been watching seasonals. Because I started fall 2021 and you started fall 2022.
Yeah, I think we have fall 2022. Properly was like winter, but like technically fall. Like it was more like the latter half of fall 2022. I was watching like Bocchi the Rock and I was watching My Hero Academia, and that's it really.
Yeah, I mean, I was only watching Komi Can't Communicate in fall 2021, and yeah, I still count it as my seasonal start. So
I'd say fall 2022 then.
So then, but I'd put Hanako-kun season 2 at a solid B tier. If there were like plus and minus tiers, I'd put it at B plus. There's a very reasonable argument to put this in A tier, right? And I would perfectly understand if you would. I tend to rank things lower than most people do, though, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like, it is a good show, though. And I'm excited for season 2 of season 2. Just call it fucking part 2, goddammit.
Honestly, did they really call it season 2 or what?
Yes. They called it the second season of 2. It's just like, why?
There's like some Attack on Titan bullshit. Like, what?
Some Attack on Titan bullshit. Like, just call it Core 2, goddammit. Yeah, so now that I've kind of gotten, like, a pace setter for what, like, sort of the average of this tier list will look like, a show that I really like, but I'm not, like, extraordinarily passionate about, I feel like then I can kind of go on to the... I feel like I should probably establish the peak then, which ReZero Season 3 is the only S tier in my opinion. It is so fucking good. Like, I mean, I nerded out about it a lot in the last video, because it started airing in fall 2023. Fall 2024, like, was I actually about to say 23? God damn it. The last 8 episodes aired in winter, and they were pretty much as good as you'd expect. They're, like, the season, I mean, there's not really that much new for me to talk about, right? When it comes to what this season does so well. Because the last half is basically just patching everything up with, like, all the remaining fights and whatnot. This is the most fight-heavy arc of ReZero, and it's very... the fights are genuinely very good, too. The battle mechanics are really interesting in ReZero, despite the fact that it didn't didn't have any real battles until this arc. Because it's more of a suspense thriller for the first 2 seasons. So yeah, that sort of shift was handled really well. And then, of course, too, this arc, most people describe this arc as sort of like preparing you for what's going to happen with arc 6, which season 4 will be adapting, and also acting as sort of like the treat you get after witnessing Subaru's fucking excellent character development that he goes through in season 2, which, like, Subaru's genuinely a contender for the greatest protagonist of all time, and this season only just kind of proved that further to me. He, because Subaru of season 1 is someone with pretty much no self-value or self-worth.
Yeah, I can guarantee that.
Like, he, thus why he dies so frequently in season 1, but he only dies like 3 times in season 3, so...
That's such a sentence.
Yeah.
He only died 3 times.
And like,
that's ReZero for you. And of course, I had to get my obligatory ReZero out of the way, because obviously every time you talk about ReZero, I have to talk about how it's mid.
Like,
No, I'm gonna keep doing it. It won't stop until I rewatch it. I won't stop.
I mean, because it pisses me off. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. That's why you call bleach Clorox.
Calling bleach Clorox is funny though. Yeah. So then, well, yeah, the fact that Subaru dies so infrequently in season 3 is a sentiment to the character development that he receives, because Subaru of season 3 is someone who can actually rely on other people. Because he was terrified of the idea of putting anyone in any amount of danger in season 1, because then, like, what's the point of what he's doing? But in season 3, now that he's sort of views the people around him as people who can make their own choices, as opposed to, I don't know, sort of like video game characters. That sort of shift is really satisfying to see. And then all the antagonists of the season do a very good job at foiling Subaru's development, right? Like the most important villain of season 3 is Regulus, who is the most selfish person in the ReZero world, and is also one of the strongest. So Subaru having to fight him is something that's supposed to show off how Subaru is no longer bound by the same weaknesses that Regulus has. So, like, fantastic season. It's so good. And then, of course, this is also one of the best seasons. This is also the first season that's not, like, explicitly through the view of Subaru. This is the first season where all the side characters sort of feel like they're kind of like the protagonists of their own shows, even. Like Garfield. Yes, there is a character named Garfield, and yes, he does turn into an orange cat.
What the fuck?
But yeah, his development in the season's really good.
What a serious anime with peak storytelling.
I know, right? This is also the first season that has an episode where Subaru doesn't even show up. And it's the episode with Reinhard and his family, which is a very, very good episode. And, like, the fact that that characters like Reinhard and Wilhelm can feel as compelling as they are despite the lack of screen time they have goes to show how ridiculously fucking well written ReZero is. So yeah, that's all I had to say about the second core. Hopefully I didn't repeat myself too much from what I said in the last video we did, but I'm also a yapper, so...
I mean, that kind of comes with the job of reviewing anime, you become a yapper.
True. But yeah, so, now that I've talked about two things, want to get something that you watched out of the way?
Yeah, let's go with Sakamoto Days.
Yeah, Sakamoto Days is so good.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. Like, at least A tier for me.
Yeah, I agree that it's A tier. I feel like I could drop it down to B tier, but
I didn't finish it yet because I've been like kind of busy with stuff and I haven't really been watching anything. But I can tell you that I finished episode 6 when I last watched a while ago. But yeah, very, very good. Very entertaining. And all the characters have kind of their own charm. And I remember one of the... There was a curveball at... I don't remember at the start of which episode, but... what's it called? Taro just started yapping at the start. Just fucking yapping, and it wasn't even him at the end of it. And just stuff like that, where it's not even like anything necessarily action related or fighting related. It's still really entertaining, and I think the show is very good at remaining entertaining even without intense fight scenes, even though that's kind of off the show. So, what's it called? I think even the characters who don't involve themselves with like the assassin business, like his wife, they're all really entertaining too. You got the classic wife of a fucking serial like assassin is the scariest person there, because when you piss her off, you've pissed her off. But very good.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I really loved Sakamoto Days. It's a great show. I will say, I am concerned with where they can really take the plot long term.
That's true.
Cause I started getting some of those concerns sort of later into season in a core one. Not to say that like it was bad though, because it was still really good. I love me a good found family story. And having two assassins sort of get the get into Sakamoto's family and learn from him is really cool.
Yeah.
So like, despite the fact that Sakamoto is basically Jesus in terms of strength. I'm sorry, I can't take that fucking sentence seriously.
Right, idiot.
So despite the fact that he's so strong, you can still feel invested in this show because Sakamoto is more of like a prop to develop Shin and Lu, as opposed to sort of being like the central. Well, I mean, Sakamoto is what the plot revolves around, but I wouldn't say that Sakamoto is quite at like the emotional heart compared to the side characters, who are really what I think where I think the show really shines.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, it's a battle shonen, which means there's a lot of fight scenes. The fights are really cool, despite the fact that there's not a ton of like outright superpowers, although there are some. And then, of course, the fight animation looks quite good too. Like the first couple of episodes, especially, look really nice, and then it sort of settles for more of a baseline quality, but it still looks great. A lot of people are very concerned that this show would look bad because of TMS Entertainment animating it, and I'm just like, what is there to be concerned about? TMS
That's fine.
TMS is one of the oldest studios out there, and they know how to make a good adaptation. Just because their shows aren't MAPPA level doesn't mean that their shows are bad.
Fucking hell, 1946. Hunks over there.
God damn.
Anyway, I just want to say, Sakamoto being fat might be one of the greatest things about the show. I think the many moments of him just being incredibly fat make it really funny, and people underestimate him. He's like, this fat bitch now! And then he kind of just, like, he just becomes a tank. And there was, like, one moment where like, from one fight, he lost all that weight. The next scene, he's back to being fat as fuck. And I think it's pretty charming.
Alright, you're gonna love this. That's a running gag.
That's good.
Like, I really enjoy Sakamoto being a fat character too, because the comedic potential with that is just great. It's a very charming addition. They didn't really need to do, because like Sakamoto would I feel like Sakamoto would probably be a more marketable character if he was fit all the time, right? But
of course, yeah.
But the fact that he's just this fat guy, for the sake of just adding entertainment value, I really respect that choice.
Also, he's a fat guy, but he's got a really hot voice as well, which I find to be pretty funny, especially because he barely speaks.
Yeah. So yeah, Sakamoto Days, great show. I just didn't like quite take over the world with shonen fans compared to something like Dandadan did, but I feel like that's kind of expected. Sakamoto Days, I feel like, has a little bit more of a niche range compared to other mainstream shonens.
Yeah, I know it's relatively popular. That quite a lot of people read it, but it's not like your Chainsaw Man, your Dandadan.
Yeah.
But I think it's fine. It's still, it's one of those where you get the balance of, you have slice of life parts to it. Obviously, I wouldn't call it a slice of life show really, because the main focus is on the fights. But I think that element does reduce its popularity a bit. But I do think it makes the show better, and I'm looking forward to part 2, which is another one of the many shows coming out in summer.
Yeah. So then, I figure the next show I should talk about. I believe this is the final thing that I would personally put in B tier, which is Flower and Asura, or Hanawasaku. This is like probably the most niche seasonal that I've picked up in my entire life. And the only reason I picked it up is because it's animated by Studio Bind, who have done Mushoku Tensei and Onimai. And one of my weird goals in life is to make a Studio Bind ranking video in probably a few more years. Studio Bind is nearing 5 years old, since the studio turns like 5 around like in 2026, I believe. But they still don't have quite enough out for me to make a ranking, so I'm still gonna have to wait a couple more years. But
I should do a Cloverworks ranking actually. Now that I think about it.
Cloverworks is a relatively recent studio, but at the same time, they've also made a lot more than Bind has. So.
Yeah, they've got 88 shows.
God damn.
So quite a bit. I mean, I don't know how many I've watched, but
yeah, I feel like a Cloverworks ranking would be cool too, because they're one of my favorite studios now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Flower and Asura is a pretty good show. It feels like it's at the cusp of being great sometimes. But I feel like it's sort of like the lack of like that extra punch. That the standing out factor, right? I think it's part of why it got kind of overshadowed this season. It looks kind of generic when you look at the poster, right?
Yeah.
The show itself is pretty good. So this is a anime about reciting novels. So it's basically like a voice acting show. So these characters work on like how to recite novels in a way that like perfectly captures like the vibes, right? Main character lives on this island, gets picked up by this other girl, tells her to join the club. So if that isn't a Yuri ship, then I don't know, I'll probably kill myself, but
I'll probably kill myself. It's probably truly insane. I don't know. I'll probably kill myself.
That's what the world needs more of. Girls kissing.
That's why you're my goat, bro. That's why you're my goat.
But then, yeah, so the show itself has an ensemble cast, and it does a pretty good job at balancing all of them. Of course, not all, some of the characters just have fuck all to do, right? Which is inevitable in an ensemble cast, right? But there are some good characters. I really like the tsundere girl, because I like tsunderes, and I think her development is very good too. Because I mean, it's easy to write development for a tsundere, right? Like, no shit.
Yeah.
And then there's this other guy that the tsundere is into, who's like this glasses wearing guy who wants to become like a doctor, because that's what his parents want to do. But then the girl who recruited the other girl told him that he had a nice voice to join her club. So that was the first time that he like made a decision like of his own agency, right? That's another really cool thing that they dive into. And there's nothing else that like quite stands out to that degree, but the characters are pretty well handled. The show is able to maintain some really compelling drama, despite the fact that the stakes aren't particularly high, right? It's just a good show. Nothing that's like so stands out that I'd be compelled to put it in A tier, but it's a good show, and I definitely think it's a bit of a shame that it got slept on so hard.
Yeah.
Also, make the Yuri ship canon, goddammit.
Real shit.
So I guess I'll yap about something myself now. Because I figure we can just I can do two things, then we can do one of your things, I guess. I guess that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, so next up for me, I think I should probably get into Link Click Season 2.5 is what I personally call it. It's more of like a prequel to the first season that you can only watch with knowledge gained from the second season. And it's meant to set up plot threads that are going to be relevant in Season 3. It's a really weird season.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I I mean, I guess that's what happens with time travel, right? It tends to get convoluted like that.
Yeah.
So this is very much a stepping stone, right? Like, you're, like, honestly, it feels like fuck all happens this season. But, like, it just felt like homework, if I'm being honest. I was really disappointed by this one C tier. Like, because I love the first 2 seasons of Link Click. Link Click is an amazing show, right? And I'm probably gonna really enjoy season 3 when that comes out. Just like, I don't know, I just don't really like having an in-between point like this. I feel like we're slowly getting to a point where the plot is starting to get way too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have not much to talk about with this one. Damn. I guess we can move on to you then.
Yeah, I mean, 0.5 season's kind of like that. You're not gonna get much.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll talk about Dr. Stone.
All right.
Dr. Stone, I'll put in S tier.
Dr. Stone is S tier.
Yeah, Dr. Stone is one of my favorite anime of all time, and season 4 very much lives up to it. Like it does not fall off in any aspect. It's just, honestly, I would say it's regular old Dr. Stone, but without spoiling, a big plot twist did occur this season. And the main conflict that happened this season I found very interesting. And what I did like is we don't really get to see much about Senku in his past. We know that obviously he was a very big nerd, and is very smart, and has always kind of been. But because he doesn't really care about feelings or anything, so he doesn't really talk about himself at all. He just does like what he's got to do. So we did get a bit of background into Senku this season, which I always appreciate, because honestly, if there's a character I like, I will always love hearing more about what made them become the person they are in their childhood, or just their circumstances in general. And we got to hear a lot more this season than we had before, because literally before we knew he was a big nerd. He built things that he should not have been making at his age. But I'm not going to spoil, obviously, but we find out more specifics and the more intricate side of how it happened. And even beyond that, it was just a good season, good conflict. The one thing I will say is that across the seasons, the side characters have been very well written and very they always get their spotlight, kind of. But this season, they didn't have that much going on. Like, they kind of felt sorry about that. They kind of felt a bit more unimportant, which did annoy me slightly. But like, overall, I can't really complain. I wouldn't complain about it. It's still fine. It's just like a slight gripe, but it's not like they weren't there. They were still there, just not as prominent as before for most of them. I mean, some of them did get their spotlight. Again, I won't spoil, but what's it called? It was still great season. Senku's genius is perfectly on show as always, and it never fails to surprise me. And again, great show, love it.
Yeah. So those are all the S tiers out of the way. Honestly, This is more S tiers than like what's usual for a winter season.
At the same time, they're both sequels, so
that is true. One of which started airing the season prior to. So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So then, what should I talk about? I'm thinking I'll talk about Blue Box next. Blue Box is such a weird series for me, because on one hand, it is extremely well written, right? The character drama is all done very well. Every character feels like they're written very realistically. But on the other hand, it has to be one of the most frustrating fucking shows I've ever seen in my whole life. Because of how fucking long they're gonna be dragging out this goddamn confession and this annoying fucking love triangle. Despite the fact that I really like these characters, right? Despite the fact that I think they're really well written, it's still fucking frustrating.
Welcome to romance, buddy.
So yeah, Blue Box is kind of like a reluctant A tier for me, because like I'm hooked every episode. I really want to see where this goes, but fucking hell, just say you want to fuck her already. Like
yeah, but, I mean, Blue Box kind of seems like that show, and that's kind of why I didn't pick up on it, because like I feel like just seeing Blue Box's premise, you know, it's going to be very dragged out. And honestly, I'm becoming less tolerant of long, dragged out romance as I used to be, because now they just piss me off. Because you have, like, obviously, I didn't watch Blue Box, and I don't want to speak too much, obviously, but, like, with romance in general, because I'm an expert, in romance, really, I'm talking about romance shows, because obviously I don't have any experience in real life, but the dragged out ones are, most of them don't know how to drag it out correctly, because most of them will be like, they're basically there, but they just stay almost there for like 17 years instead of like having a natural looking development. Because like slow romance isn't bad, but the way most shows will do it is you have all this quick development in the beginning. You almost be at the confession, but then it just stops. Then the development just stops. And I mean, I don't know if that's what's happening with Blue Box, but I can tell you that happens with a lot of shows.
Yeah, and actually saying that Blue Box is actually safe from that trap. Again,
Thank God.
part of why I consider it to be well written, right? Because like, despite how dragged out this is, every reason for why it ends up getting dragged out makes sense. Like, it's in character for these people, because Taiki's having to deal with this love triangle, right? Having learned that his childhood friend has a crush on him, despite the fact that he never really saw her that way, and the fact that he's now confused now that he has to consider her in that way, which drives him mad, because even though he doesn't want to date her, he has to deal with the thoughts of, wow, so she really is a woman, I get. Because you know shonen protagonists are fucking dense as shit, right?
Yeah, that's the shonen protag type shit. It's like, oh my god, you have tits. Oh my god, no way.
Because Blue Box is a sports show, right? So it very much feels like a shonen, which I'd say is to its benefit. Because like whenever the romance elements start to get too frustrating, they'll cut to developing the sports storylines, and that shit is always good. I need to watch them. I need to watch more sports shows, because nothing's more hype than like watching two characters who really care about their sport really going at it, right?
Yeah, I've kind of strayed away from sport, because a lot of it feels very like, oh my god, with the power of friendship, we're gonna do this, and it's really fucking annoying. Because people aren't like that. That's why I dropped Haiku. But anyway, I'm getting off topic.
Yeah, I probably won't get to Haiku myself because it's just too long.
Yeah, that too.
That's the reason why it's hard to find a sports series I want to watch. Right?
Yeah, they're all too. I don't do good with long things unless they belong to Aiden.
Like they're either like sports shows are either too long or they're or they feel too shonen-y for me to get into, because
yeah,
I can tolerate majority of anime tropes, but for some reason the shonen tropes are the ones that really bother me.
they're overdone.
Yeah. But so yeah, Blue Box, great show, recommend. Actually, I don't even know if I'd recommend it. If you want to feel as frustrated as me, definitely watch it. If you want to stay sane, probably skip this one. It's very good though, so I want to recommend it. But goddamn, is it frustrating?
Fair enough.
So I guess we can move on to talking about My Happy Marriage Season 2. I'll let you start talking about it.
My Happy Marriage Season 2, honestly, when it started releasing, I completely forgot. Especially because, like, it was a year after Season 1, and, I don't know, I don't even know why I forgot, really, but I ended up just kind of forgetting a little bit about what happened in Season 1, but I very quickly got back into it, because, let's just say, we'll get it out of the way, Mia adorable all the time, like, sure. I love her so much, like, she's great, and she's really a character that you can't help but root for, because she's been through a lot of shit. Undeserving. She didn't deserve it at all, but she ended up going through a lot of shit. And like and one thing that I do like about the show is that it's not all gone by the end of Season 1, it's still there. And like new conflict gets introduced to kind of reintroduce kind of those old feelings that Mia had of self-doubt. But it does it in a way that's not for no reason, because it's directly it's a consequence of her loving her husband. Her loving her husband is the reason why this conflict starts. So I think that's pretty natural, because like she got over her past because of her husband, but now new conflict is being introduced because of it. And I think that's a lot more natural than something just like, oh, she remembered something that happened, which I can like see why it introduced conflict, but I do think it's less natural than what we did get. So I'm very happy about that. And like we also what's it called? We get good romance as always, but it was definitely a lot more focused on the action part this season than the pure romance bit. Which like it did irk me a little bit, but I'm willing to go along with it because the romance is good, and like it's not like the action parts were bad. They were still fine.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, I dropped Season 2. I thought it was fucking boring as shit.
Fair enough.
It is a departure from Season 1 in my opinion, where Season 1 felt like an actual romance show. The second season feels like some just boring military shit with romance sprinkled in, and like I just got lost. I just stopped caring.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I'm gonna carry on until I assume a Season 3 is gonna happen. If I feel like I do agree with you in some sense that like if Season 3 does continue to be that way, I'll probably end up dropping it. But like to me, I'm coping myself into believing that this is just for this season. It's kind of like a departure from the romance for a season until we get back to romance in Season 3. But if it doesn't end up being that, then I'll probably just end up dropping it, because I do agree. I definitely prefer the romance, of course. I mean, I started off with saying how adorable Mia was and their interactions. So if we just stop seeing that as much, then I won't really find a reason to continue. But I can find some entertainment in the military aspect. I don't hate it. It's just definitely not as good as the romance, of course.
Yeah. And this season does have some cool stuff that it adds in as well, like Karuko. Her character is really well done.
I agree. I heard Karuko and then I smiled. I smiled to myself.
So yeah, personally I'd put it in C tier. But since you actually finished
I'd put it in like high B, I'd say. Mid B. I'd say mid B's reasonable.
Alright, so I got 2 more shows left to yap about.
You should do 100 Girlfriends to keep the viewers who want to hear your opinions on Solo Leveling round till last.
100 Girlfriends, I believe last time I ranked the first season I put it in S tier.
Yes, you did.
I'm gonna walk back on that opinion. It's an
I
A
was
tier.
surprised. I was surprised when you said it was S tier.
Like, The second season, I will say, is not nearly as good as the first season. I think that's because it's inevitably going to suffer under the weight of how fucking ridiculous the premise is, right? But this show, the second season was still really good. My only major issue with it is that all the new girlfriends who are introduced don't really have that much to do with it doesn't feel like many of the new girlfriends have as much to do. The older ones still get very fleshed out though, so it gives me hope that the season 2 girlfriends will end up having more of a role in season 3. Speaking about anything this series reminds me of how fucking stupid the premise is. Chad Toro is just as great of a protagonist as always. Honestly, he could probably turn me gay.
Yeah, that's good right now.
I know, right? So yeah, very just the main thing that this season does a fantastic job on is just continuing up with the comedy. This is one of the funniest anime I've ever seen. The jokes are consistently hilarious, and trying to think of like other memorable moments. I guess we can go on to best girls. None of the season 2 girlfriends like really stood out to me. But I think my favorite was probably Kurumi. Her episode was really good. And in terms of returning characters who had the biggest glow up, probably Hahari, because she was introduced at like the end of season 1. So season 2 is kind of like where they start utilizing Hahari for real. And she is one of the most wild characters, right? So the first girlfriend is Hakari, right? Hakari is Hakari's mom. Yeah, this show is fucking unhinged. And like
you said what?
Yeah, so Hakari, the daughter, her main trait is being a parody of Dere Dere, right? So she's like super horny for Rentaro all the time.
Okay.
So then Hahari, she's also like that, but she's also the MILF character. So she's like super into like Yuri shipping all the other girls, and is just generally just a complete freak. It's like, how does she have a role in this school? What the fuck?
Okay, question. How does the daughter react to this?
With discomfort, but ultimately she just brushes it off. Because if it comes to Rentaro and making sure that he's as happy as possible, she'll settle for fucking anything.
Yeah, top of 80 type shit. Okay, that's fucking crazy. Okay, so if personally, right, I was a girl, right, and I was with my boyfriend, and then my boyfriend got with my mom and tried to stay with me, he's getting a slap. He's getting multiple slaps.
In that case, you might be the tsundere of the harem.
Such a bitch asshole.
Total Soon vibes.
Don't you dare call me a tsundere.
That is the most tsundere shit I've ever heard.
How dare you?
So yeah,
Tsundere.
And then my second favorite character, Karane, as well. She's the tsundere. She gets an episode dedicated to herself near the end, kind of like what Hakari got in the end of Season 1. And, of course, it's not quite as good as the end of Season 1, but it's still very good. Having to get Karane's tsundere-ness back, because she's insecure about her tsundere-ness, it was a really cute way to end the season. Then to show how like supportive like all the other girlfriends are of her as well. It's like the other girlfriends, they end up having like their own like weird friend group, right? All centered around worshipping Rentaro, basically. It's fucking, this show is unhinged, right? Buddy. This show is fucking crazy. But it's surprisingly wholesome, because of just how pure-hearted and kind Rentaro is a guy, right? Like Rentaro, you see him and you go, yeah, this guy unironically deserves his enormous harem, because he's that upstanding of a person.
No, you can't tell me that you're yours and just put up with this brother who's got 100 girls and say, yeah, he deserves it. Shut up. No one does. No one does.
You haven't seen the show yet. You don't understand Plasma.
If there's a guy who deserves 100 girlfriends, I'm gonna be one of them. Like.
Oh no, that's actually gonna be me. Trust.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you said it earlier. I have a massive penis, right?
I mean, you do, but like that's meant to be for me only.
Oh man. So and then of course the main thing that propels 100 Girlfriends to its enormous heights for me is of course the comedy. Like, this is like top 5 funniest shows I've ever seen in my life.
Damn.
Like, it's that funny.
Fair enough.
Anyway.
Okay. Interesting.
I just want to let this settle in for a bit.
I can actually... Okay. 1 minute silence.
I'm just gonna let this settle in for a bit, so that way the commenters can put in their enormous comment about how much...
Finish writing a comment and then we'll carry on. Yeah. We'll chat once you finish writing a comment.
Yeah, well,
just let us know when you finish.
In the meantime, we'll appreciate this Bocchi the Rock Jazz for the next couple minutes.
Yep. Drinks water.
I'm gonna grab my bottle of what? Why did I sound fucking Scottish whenever I try to sound British? Oh man, Fish would not be proud.
His country doesn't exist.
Oh yeah, so he doesn't exist himself.
Yeah.
At least he's not French.
What did you say? You might call.
At least he's not French.
Interesting. Alright.
You know, as a Canadian, it really bothers me how we have French people in our country. I mean, it's a disgrace, really. You know, I think Justin Trudeau should deport the people from Quebec.
Yeah, I agree. French people are horrible. Horrible people.
You know, if Trudeau did that, then for once, we'd have something that our fucking Prime Minister decided to do that was logical, right? Oh yeah, random ass thing, but I was wondering, Plasma, do you think it'd be funny if I called Trudeau the President of Canada instead? Just because it'd be funny. Like, I almost think it would, like, because my fellow Canadians would be so fucking pissed off if I called Trudeau the fucking president. Oh man. You know, I love my country, man. I love being able to lubricate myself with maple syrup, stick a hockey stick up my ass. You know, I should try fapping with maple syrup sometime soon.
Are you saying I should or you should?
No, I should.
Oh, I thought you'd already done that.
I mean, I've done it many times, right? What I actually meant was, grabbing a fucking, like, beehive, right? That has a bunch of honey in it, and sticking that up my dick, and then rubbing with that.
Alright. You do you, man. That makes you happy.
Oh, man. Alright, so, now the person has almost certainly written up their comment about why I'm not allowed to have opinions anymore because of how they disagree with me about solo leveling. And now that they've done that... I can actually
talk about this one a little bit after you're done, because I did read it. I didn't watch it, but I read it.
And now that you've written up that comment, I can actually put this where it actually belongs, which is C tier. Because, like, for as much as I dislike the storytelling of Solo Leveling Season 2, I will say one thing. The fight scenes are pretty hype. Like, they look very good. A1 Pictures is a very consistent studio. Makes sense that they would make something that looks very consistent like this. So, like, that is one very, very tangible strength with solo leveling that you just can't ignore, right? You had to acknowledge it.
Of course. Yeah.
So I'm actually writing a full video about why I think this season's mid right now, because I'm just that fucking passionate, right? Anime fans are treating this like it's fucking Jesus Christ resurrecting himself from the dead, fucking going on that cross, breaking like the things that they fucking tied into the cross with, and then fucking going around and taking children. So then
that goes half the view.
Like, I just don't understand why people think that this season is that good. I just don't get it. Do you rate it a 10 out of 10 because fun fights are the only thing that you give a shit about? Because it's not like the character writing's good. It's not like the plot itself is particularly interesting. Because like,
I think I can give that a little bit of insight after you're done as to what people think. But I'll let you finish first.
Because like Because the first season, I actually liked it. Last time we did this, which was last year, I put it in A tier, which, I'm not gonna lie, was too high.
Fair enough.
I would put it in B tier now. The first season was pretty good, though. It established a very interesting premise. It's very My Hero Academia-esque, in terms of normal guy gets really strong power. Which that's what a lot of my video is going to be about, comparing why Deku works as a protagonist and Jinwoo is a fucking boring blank slate self-insert bullshit. Because My Hero Academia treats having such enormous power as being something that's suffocating. Because with so much power comes the responsibility of having to shoulder the burden of the world on your own. Meanwhile, solo leveling treats power as freedom, which is inherently uninteresting, because when no other character is able to match up to Jinwoo, it means that there is no tension. And any tension that existed in Season 1, I've now realized is tension that I've artificially created in my own head. Because, there are so many obvious routes that the story could go down, right? They could, A, make it a tragedy, where Jinwoo ignores all the people around him, and the show treats that as a bad thing, because no fucking shit it's a bad thing. B, you could make it a tragedy. Most of the good ways to write this story are tragic.
Yeah.
Where, B, you could make it a tragedy, where Jinwoo, and being as reckless as he is, getting himself into fights that are above his level, where because of that, he ends up paying the price for it. So he's not able to save his mom, and he's not able to be free, from the constraints that the world has put on him financially. So, and then C, you could go down the route of maybe not making him so fucking overpowered, making him have to actually work for more than a couple episodes to get his strength. The Season 1 showed promise in that it could actually write Jinwoo's character well, although the cracks started to show when he became a necromancer, because all of these fucking guys level up alongside with him, and he has a shitload of them. Keep in mind, Jinwoo is one of the strongest fucking hand-to-hand fighters in the world, and he's also a necromancer.
No. Hold up. Jinwoo is the strongest hand-to-hand fighter in the verse. On Earth. He is the strong, it's not he is the strongest hand-to-hand fighter on Earth, and that's not even his main trait.
That's fucking crazy. It's because again, there can't be tension if he's this strong. So there are other ways to make tension show up if he's as strong, too, right? Oh, the side characters are going to be in danger. That's what Sakamoto Days does, right? And Sakamoto Days is great. But because solo leveling is so fucking caught up in sucking Jinwoo's dick, it means that all the side characters are fucking boring. They're fucking handjob giving, blowjob giving, boring pieces of flat fucking wood who don't get any development because all the writer cares about is sucking Jinwoo's dick. This show fucking sucks. Never mind, I'm putting this in D tier. Fuck this. I don't care if the fights are good. The writing's just that fucking bad. The more I talk about the show, the more I'm just like, fuck this shit. Why do people think this is good? This is ass.
No, here's the thing, right? I'm gonna say a couple things, and I'm gonna I don't think it. I'd say it's C tier. I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate here. In terms of giving reasons why people like it. First of all, a lot of people are obsessed with aura farming and characters that aura farm and are cool and they do all this shit, they're nonchalant, kind of like Aizen in Bleach if you've watched Bleach, or you know those standard characters who are fucking incredibly overpowered and they shrug it off, they kind of just like, they're like, again, nonchalant and they do their thing. Jinwoo is that personified because he's the main character. Now, the thing about Solo Leveling is it's one of its big premises ends up being it's one of its biggest downfalls, which is Jinwoo is the only one who can level up. That is interesting at face value, but then when you realize that it means that all the characters around Jinwoo can get zero development, it makes it very boring. And the reason why the side characters get no development is because they can't really do anything to develop themselves apart from maybe a change in mindset. But that's never really going to happen because Jinwoo is the protagonist. Now, I've read many webtoons, anime, stuff like that, where a summoner or a necromancer will be the protagonist. Here's the thing. Every class or type, like warrior, stuff like that, they will have a weakness. A warrior, range. A mage, lack of mana. A summoner or a necromancer, their weakness is meant to be over-reliant on their summons. If the enemy gets past their summons, you're fucked. Because Jinwoo is the strongest hand-to-hand fighter on Earth, that one restriction does not apply. So Jinwoo is never in danger. Because he's overpowered in every single aspect, which, while it can be, it is common, it doesn't make for good story writing, because you know from the start, nothing will happen to Jinwoo. Now, one thing that I will say is absolutely stupid from Solo Leveling fans is the hate that Jinwoo or the show got when he cried after helping his mother.
It's like one of the only good scenes of the fucking show too.
I get why people like this aura farming type character, but you have to remember that a character is still trying to be a person. Even though they're a character, they're trying to be portrayed as a person. People have emotions. I think if most people started off at rock bottom, on the brink of life and death every single day, just to try and help your mother, and finally you get to help your mother, anyone would break down into tears. And I'm not saying Solo Leveling has great writing, but I don't think it even takes great objective writing to understand that that is an emotional moment, and it should be. And to try and discredit Jinwoo because of that is absolutely stupid. Now, Solo Leveling, right? I think it's TikTok heaven, really. It's like everything a TikToker would want out of a show, it gets. The aura farming, the nonchalantness, the fight scenes that are admittedly beautiful out of the few that I've seen. Because I read the manga, I didn't fully watch the show. I do agree, I think the parts where people like it are fine, but they're not enough to make it the 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 show. And that's why it feels like a lot of people who do enjoy Solo Leveling, here's the thing, they're not looking for a good story. Now, here's the thing, they might say that Solo Leveling has a good story, and they can say that, but the thing is, right, the reason why they think Solo Leveling has a good story is not because they actually think Solo Leveling has a good story. They will see people say an anime is good because it has good story, and assume because I like Solo Leveling, it must have a good story. It kind of has the Demon Slayer problem, where looks beautiful, has aura scenes, but the story isn't actually that good because when you really look into it, nothing really happens. It's just Jinwoo fighting and fighting, and that is accelerated when he kills his mother, because then why is Jinwoo doing what he's doing afterwards? Because the whole reason that this show that he was a hunter was to cure his mother. But now that that's gone, why are we here? Again, it's just for Jinwoo to show how cool he is. And obviously, I don't want to... If I carry on saying anything more, I'm going to end up repeating myself. But at its core, it's mainly... its premise is its downfall. There's nothing really interesting for Jinwoo to do after he cures his mother. And the story isn't actually good. It's just cool moments, which I can agree with. They're cool, but it's not a good story. And I am looking at the episode list and where it finishes. I agree that there were some cool moments in the final couple episodes, but there was no story really. There was like a semblance of story when he was debating whether to revive that person or not. And that was like minuscule, but again, that was one scene with no build up towards it or whatever. It was just a seemingly random character having a moment, and that's kind of it. And the fact that I'm even mentioning it shows that this story doesn't really have much, because even something that would normally be treated as kind of like a side thing is getting a mention as one of its like 3 big events that happen, and like the only one in the last half of the season.
Yeah, because like when I was watching the Ant arc, which is what I'm gonna call it, because it's just fucking Hunter x Hunter Ant arc. But it's Hold on.
Hunter to this. Carry on. Wait, Hunter needs Solo Leveling.
Honestly, true. I'm not even a particularly huge fan of Hunter x Hunter, but Hunter x Hunter is way better than this shit. So like the Ant arc of Solo Leveling was just like, I was just like, why should I even care? So Jinwoo's achieved his goal, so like what is there to do anymore? It's just like and like I want to say one thing too. I am not inherently against aura farming characters. And like last year we praised Classroom of the Elite Season 3, primarily because of how great of a protagonist Ayano Koji is. Ayano Koji is like your textbook aura farmer. There are plenty of people who are like, I want to be like Ayano Koji, man. He's so fucking goated.
Yeah, he's like probably one of the top 5 like quote-unquote aura farming characters, but Ayano Koji has something behind that. It's not just doing it for no reason, because obviously Ayano Koji has goals that make sense, like him trying to discover how to be a person. But Jinwoo, after he kills his mother, doesn't have any of that, and that's why I think his aura farming was fine in Season 1 and the first half of Season 2, but then afterwards it becomes pointless, which Ayano Koji doesn't have, which is why Ayano Koji is one of my favorite characters.
I think it's funny too, because a lot of the people who are like, I want to be like Ayano Koji, man, completely misunderstand his fucking character.
Of course, yeah, they don't. They just see the cool moments, and that's and you know what? I think it comes down to the simple reason of why people watch anime. Me and you, we both watch anime for great stories. A lot of people aren't that way. They just want to see cool shit happen. And well, if what you want to see is cool shit happen, Solo Leveling is a great show, because I can tell you a lot of cool shit happens, but that's it. So it doesn't have a good story, but cool shit does happen. So I think it does please those people who maybe just watch anime for cool shit to happen. And if you're one of those, fair enough. But I think it's a bit silly to try and say that Solo Leveling has peak story writing and stuff like that, because it doesn't.
Like if you want a cool shit happens show that's actually good this season, then Sakamoto Days is right there.
Yeah, but some people literally all they want is cool shit to happen, and when Solo Leveling is on, there's nothing but cool shit happening. And if you like it, I'm not gonna criticize you. You can like what you want to like. All stories have charm to it, and if someone likes a story, I can't really blame you for that. But I'm just giving my opinion as to its objective story writing and stuff, and why I think it's a bit silly that people make these statements. And a lot of people are pretty toxic. They will hate on anyone who doesn't like Solo Leveling, and the other way around as well. I think people unnecessarily, like, it's fine to dislike Solo Leveling, but I think people do get a bit too toxic with it.
Yeah, because like ultimately, as long as someone acknowledges the fact that they only like Solo Leveling because it's dumb fun, they don't really have anything to criticize them about. It's ultimately their opinion, and they're entitled to it, even if they're wrong.
Well, I mean, I think I'm of the belief that a truly bad story doesn't actually exist. Because if at least one person can feel something positive from it, or even negative, or feel something in general, then it's a good story for at least that one person. And I'd say that is a writer's goal, to make a reader feel something, or a viewer feel something. And if they even accomplish it for one person, then it's a good show.
And
so
I agree with
it's
that
not bad.
To an extent, because I think that the only actually bad works are works that are soulless, works that don't elicit any emotion. I would much rather watch something that is bad.
That's what I'm trying to say. If something doesn't have any emotion, I don't think you can even call that a story, because I feel like at its core, a story is something that makes someone feel something.
And as fundamentals, that's why I'm an anime fan, right? Instead of like a Western movie fan or something, where like a lot of Hollywood is devolved into cash cowing as much shit as possible with no soul. Anime still exists in a world that is full of very soulful creations. So yeah, this was probably the best winter season we've had ever, at least when we've been doing these videos.
Yeah, I can agree. I mean, objectively, I think this is the best. I mean, I have some favorites that came out, I think, maybe in winter. Yeah, I mean, The Age of Next Door Supposed to Be Well came out in winter, but, like, that wasn't this season. That was just one show. But I think, on average, the shows were pretty good this season. And, like, obviously, I only watched 3 shows, but I think, on average, they were pretty good.
Yeah. I forgot to do this last video, because I did record one yesterday. Yeah, I have a Patreon, so if you want to give me money, that's an option. I don't think you'll want to give me money after hearing me ramble about Solo Leveling and why it's mid, but yeah.
Well, if you still want to give money, we know you're best.
For real. We got the Phantom Tier roll with Patreon roll call, Discord server, early scripts, scrapped ideas, just all the basic stuff. Confidant tier with all the video benefits, like early videos, exclusive videos, enlisted videos. And then the God tier with all the crazy benefits, like the Google Drive. And then top Patreon, which gives you a custom roll color for the Discord server and the Patreon roll call. Speaking of the Patreon roll call, I want to thank my wonderful Phantom tier patron Squizzy and my Confidant tier patrons Regimania and Eternum. You know, now that I'm actually acknowledging the fact that I'm Canadian instead of American, I should probably change it from USD to Canadian dollars. Get the loonies and toonies in here.
One thing I will say, the Discord is very good fun. Everyone's active on there. It's not a dead server. It's good fun. You should join.
Yeah, it's a great server.
You should join the Patreon.
I feel like the server basically just boils down to me yapping and then people responding if they see it. But it's a good place.
I yap a lot. I yap a lot about anime, manga, music, stuff like that. Everyone, it's good fun. You should join.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's all I had to say. So, well, I'll see you guys next time with the spring season, which has already been very strong. So, very excited to make a video about that when it comes.
Yes, sir.
See ya.